Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Blues Talk. Again, John Dave, myself, going to look back over Leinster's fairly emphatic victory against Ulster last weekend, and of course look back over all your Pro 14 action and look forward in the second half to next week's fixtures. So boys, pretty good win up in Belfast at the weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty more than pretty good. It was really, really emphatic. We went up there, we took what Ulster had to offer and kind of just dismissed it and then just went ahead and won the game. I mean, we could have had a bonus point even. We were that dominant. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's hard to say anything about it except that there was only really one team in it. I mean, Ulster scored their final point in the 28th minute, and that was it. I mean, that's all she wrote.
If you had have taken the two packs and split them down the middle and given them a few of our players, they would have slaughtered us in the backs. I just thought anytime they got the ball, which was pretty much never,
I thought their backs were completely ineffective.
That's because they couldn't get the ball.
I thought anytime they got the ball, all they did was drop it.
Yeah, I mean, but the forwards did plenty of that before they got near it.
Well, the backline was completely ineffective. When you consider the scratch nature of the Leinster backline, and when you consider that, even considering that scratch nature, it was further damaged by the injury to Reid. We were playing, a 4-year-old in a position he doesn't play anyway. And they still couldn't make any grounds. If I were Dwayne Peel, I'd be very, very worried because they only have two backs. One of them is only interested half the time, so they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, no, I'm not making light of it. They just destroyed so much line-out ball on their own. It was pretty much.
Listening to Arizona, both teams were making those. Like at one stage, it was. I think it was like the olden days where you threw the ball in and it was an absolute lottery.
It was scrum. It was squint feed, scrum, kick it out on the full, scrum, squint feed. It was.
I think we murdered two lineouts, maybe three, but they murdered almost every one.
Yeah.
Like they just and if they got it, they managed to knock it on or drop it or. So I would say that Ulster were shocking and we were okay in the first half and good in the second half.
And the first half, in the second half we just moved on. Yeah. We moved up a gear. We do that sometimes.
We do. Well, it's nice. It's like you say, with the losing James Ryan and Noel Reid in the first half, it's good that we managed to regroup and do what we did. So I'm not faulting the guys' effort. I'm just saying to take a huge amount out of a team against a team playing as badly as Ulster were. I wouldn't be getting too excited about it yet.
I don't think that. I think that if you lose to Ulster, no matter how well they play, you're doing something wrong at this point in time. that they're just in this. They have been since 2012, and they've never fixed it. There is a huge gaping hole in the centre of that Ulster team where I'm not going to say courage or bravery because everyone. They are nobody who walks on a rugby pitch it lacks courageousness or bravery, but there's a spirit that's just not there.
Well, Rory Best looked inconsolate nearly, doesn't he?
And that's what makes it extraordinary when you consider that they're led by Rory Best, they're led by Ian Henderson, two guys who lack in nothing. But there's just, there's a soullessness to that Ulster team.
Something, yeah. Who knows what it is, but I don't think he has the cattle. Like, people are slagging off Kiss and saying, first of all, it was Neil Doak and Alan Clark were getting in the neck, and as soon as they were gone, everything was going to be fine. Now they're gone. John O'Gibbs was supposed to save the day, but now the fingers seems to be pointing at Kiss, who, may or may not have some. Anybody who speaks, I think the players who speak from his Ireland days have nothing but praise for him.
Yeah.
But whether he has the same touch as a head coach.
But some
people are just not.
He's only got a certain amount of bullets in his.
Exactly. That's the point I'm coming around to. That you can't. If you haven't got the cattle, as Rob Penny was saying when he's trying to implement the style that he was trying to implement in Munster and wasn't getting it implemented. You can only do so much if you haven't got the cattle.
That's the thing. And you also have to remember. They've got new coaching staff in there. We're talking about when Leinster had new coaching staff last week. We were talking about how long it took Kieran Keane to come in. And to all intents and purposes, although the director of rugby is the same, they've new coaching staff there in Dwayne Peel and John O'Gibbs. So and Aaron Dundon. So it's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. My query is it's certainly not going to be fixed overnight, considering it's now 6 years since it's been fixed.
Yeah. Well, a good example of it, I think, is even Leinster's first try, the way we just seem to cut them to shreds.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, there was great carries there. Levy made a great carry, and Furlong here makes a very good carry, even before the ball went out to thing. And we isolated, a winger on a lock, you know. And good and all as Henderson is, he ain't turning that quick.
That was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, he wrong-footed Henderson,
Yeah.
which, you know, a 6'6" guy is not so hard
But
when you're.
it's the idea of isolating the speedster on the
Yeah.
big guy is what you always want to do.
He took it exceptionally well.
he took it
was
really,
like a knife
really
through
well.
butter.
Yeah.
That's-
But there was very little covering
pure
across
class.
at all. There was no
But Piatau
covering.
would come up into the previous ruck.
So to see a guy like that, you know, to see a guy take a try like that is just
You'll see it here. You'll see the step here, there,
oh, and away he goes.
another one.
Now, admittedly, that's Cairns or
Yeah,
Cairns or
Cairns.
whatever his name is, who is fast. He's played on the wing in sevens, I believe, but he's not.
Did he come from Lansdowne? Is that the guy? No. There was
No.
a guy came
I
up
don't think
last
so,
year
no.
for.
No, that was Dave Shanahan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but he's injured as well. So Cairns is. I think he played AIL last week.
Okay.
So a bit of a step up. I mean, he did. He actually played quite well, but there's a difference between trying to stop an AIL guy and trying to stop Jordan Larmour on the hoof. You know.
Yeah,
Yep. Well, here's another good example of Leinster cutting loose.
Well,
as
this is exactly what you're talking about turnover ball. I
Yeah.
mean, this starts with, funnily enough, one of Ulster's best players knocks it on in Rodney Ayew, but then it's just spread wide. Point of attack has changed completely.
But Ulster didn't do this once in the game. They
No.
didn't
lovely from
look-
Sean O'Brien. Look at this. Oh, what a
They
pass!
didn't, none of their back row looked to get a second touch.
No,
You know?
not at all.
No.
A forward being able to do that, even 5 or 10 years ago, would have been unheard
Yeah.
of. But
Forward pass, I mean.
The ball was forward, the pass was backwards.
it wasn't forward. I don't know what glasses you're using, Jason. That was flat. But yeah, McGrath took it well as well. He's a great man with a snipe, and he's very, very quick.
Yeah.
And he just opened them up there. But he had a fair bit to do to slide in there, you know.
No, I did, yeah.
Rodney Ayew put in a few monster hits, didn't he?
They seem to have got him fit.
Yeah.
One of the hardest tasks in Irish rugby, but he played very well. Rodney
He
Ayew
did,
played
he
really
did.
well for them. So if he's obviously one of those guys, once you get him fit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you get your reward from it.
But
Nick
you just
Williams.
have to obviously make a big effort and
Oh, you do,
get him in at the
Lock
start
up
of
all
the
the pies.
I have a feeling he might be a Stan Wright type.
Yeah,
in
maybe,
terms
yeah.
of.
But like he played for New Zealand under 20s. Like he's got pedigree.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
You know.
yeah. But I mean, you saw the difference there. The Leinster forward, in this case, Sean looping around the back. You didn't see any of the.
No, he never saw it
the Ulster
once.
forwards do that. And it's not because they're lazy. Because you've got guys like Chris Henry, who's a good footballer, Sean Reedy, who's a good footballer, but they just didn't do it.
But even if you saw it, like there was a willingness just to like there was a pass thrown out to O'Brien,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
probably about I don't know
Toner.
50.
It was
Toner.
Toner, yeah.
It was
He
15
thought
or
about it
15
for a
or
while.
20 meter pass. Like that's
Yeah.
that's a skill that an outside back
Yeah.
does well to master. Yet let alone a second row. But the spot that it was on, and to take advantage of it, and to, the willingness, the mindset that you want to attack when it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't see that once from Ulster during the game.
I mean, I was critical at the time, and of Jemison Gibson Park. I don't think he did the greatest game ever. I think he did a couple of really, really freaking stupid things.
Yeah.
Blew
A bonus point try.
He blew that try. I think that kick was stupid as well. I mean, but he does certain things. He does them well. He does other things. He hasn't progressed since the day he arrived in Ireland, I don't think. But even the way he plays, I mean, he plays with an intent, a heads up intent to attack. So even though I thought Leinster improved when McGrath came on, I still think that McGrath only further developed what we were already doing, which was really driving Ulster attack with the ball and without the ball. Our rush up defence was excellent.
Yeah. Well, conventional theory would say that Gibson Park is the man to finish the games and McGrath is the man to be in the tight scraps, and I suppose a bit like nothing like Boss and Redden, but we'll use them as an example. The Boss was the one for the hard games,
The away to France.
and Redden was the man to up the tempo when the tempo needed upping.
The ninth forward versus the eighth back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And while they're absolutely nothing like those two players, if you want to pack Bost around, you want Luke McGrath. If you want an extra forward, like you say, it's a guy small guy who can tackle like a back row, you want Luke McGrath.
What I
If
really
you
want
want the ball scooped out very, very quickly, and you know every single possible thing that's on run, then you want, you know,
Luke McGrath.
Gibson Park.
What I really want is I want what we got from Redden and Boss, which was one guy looking at what the other player did well,
Yeah.
and
Learning,
adding that to his game.
Yeah.
So in the end, you had two really, really good scrum halves who were really pushing one another
Yeah.
because each could do a certain amount of what the other did well.
But they're both young guys. I mean, like, don't forget,
that's
at,
true,
at
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
Boss had played a number of seasons of
Oh, yeah,
Super
yeah.
12 or 14, whatever it was
Yeah.
at the time. Played a few years up in Ulster, was an Irish international. Redden, on the other hand, had won the European Cup
With
with
Wasps.
Wasps.
Yeah.
You know, they
Different.
but different parts
Pedigree.
of their life,
Yeah.
a cycle, if you like. These lads they're only learning their game. They're only in their early 20s. Give them another 2 or 3 years, and then see and make a call and try and compare.
What I liked from McGrath was there was one point where we had a scrum, and he just took the ball off the back of the scrum and just banged it into the Ulster,
Yes,
down on the
fantastic
five,
kick.
and that was like
That was
things like
it.
that break
That
Ulster
was a
forwards'
nail
hearts.
through the heart.
Yeah, it was.
It was,
That broke
and,
their
and
hearts.
also it's it's a line out, so it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
and
it's
they're
like,
already got that in their head. Yeah.
it's like big packs
And I
who
think
knock
we
the ball
turned that
around.
over from memory. I
to
think
get
we
the
might have
scrum.
given away a penalty towards the end. Was it knock on?
No, it was knock on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Geordie Murphy
And
just
then-
couldn't get his
that's
hands
right,
on it
yeah.
at the back. So I mean, that was a scoring opportunity he
Yeah.
created with that one good piece of game management.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was good to see them. It was good to see them running it for the bonus point try
Yeah.
at the end. You know, they're
Yeah.
okay. We're unlikely to get there, but the ball just went out over the touchline instead of staying in. But you know, had it stayed in,
Yeah, you never know. And we just have a quick
they
look
died
at
with their boots on, as they say.
Luke's final try, which was
Yeah.
sort of the final nail in Ulster's coffin, because they were still there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
Opportunity to come back.
Boom,
Some hit.
Jack Conan.
But we have huge carriers in this team, so we do.
Yeah,
It was a fairly feisty affair.
Is
wasn't
Cian
it?
Healy? Has Cian Healy played himself into the number 1 Irish jersey
I have him there
over Jack
certainly.
McGrath?
Possibly.
McGrath,
He is on fire, Cian Healy, and he was on fire when he came on here
Yeah.
as well.
McGrath is, I wouldn't say he's in bad form, but he's not doing anything exceptional. Here we go.
No.
Oh, now for a small lad to get through in there,
Yeah,
Against
a
the
forward in
hooker.
the back. Yeah,
you know, that's A, to back himself to do it, and B, to get over.
for some reason the BBC thought it was Cian Healy who scored.
And so did Sky.
Yeah,
That's because he was the one being patted on the back.
Did very well there to get
Like
over.
that
Like he
power to get over
he
that
didn't
line.
deserve. Sorry, he for
by
a small
rights
guy,
he
he shouldn't
scored
have
it.
got
Yeah,
over
no,
there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like that's something you see somebody like Keane
Like
Healy
he was
doing.
up against the prop there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he still managed to beat him.
Yeah,
No, I think Healy may well have played himself into
Yeah.
into reckoning to
Well,
start.
we'll get on to that. There's obviously a bit of news since we last spoke about
really.
about the national team, but we'll get to that in the second half. Just looking back at some of the other results, lads. Match on Friday night was Connacht beating Munster.
bit of a
It's
dare affair.
It was. I watched it. It was a very exciting game, though.
I was in. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah,
It was
especially the
intense.
result.
It was intense.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I enjoyed the game. I mean, Connacht
Everyone's
started
second
off,
favourite team.
and they started doing stupid things straight up from the get go. Their first try came from them trying to stupid offload in their own 22 that they should never have tried. But then they I think they remember that they weren't playing for Pat Lam anymore. They were playing for Kieran Keane, and Kieran Keane allows them to be pragmatic.
Yeah.
And they were just a lot more pragmatic than Munster and used the ball better. Obviously, they used the extra man.
Speaking of which, warranted red card, Conway's.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it was a red card. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the
He knew what he was doing, and he left the elbow.
Yeah,
And he there is a bit of a movement in the elbow as well. I think. I
And
don't
Carty,
think it was-
Carty got a bit of a. I mean, I saw it slow down.
Aye, walloped
he
him,
got,
yeah.
and he was hit twice because
Peter
O'Mahony hit
O'Mahony
him
was
as well.
lucky he didn't get a yellow card on top of that. They were lucky they weren't down to 13. I think Nigel was being a bit charitable, shall we say,
Yeah,
to Munster.
for sure. But I
Has he
thought that
been
kind of.
cited?
What's that?
That's an
Automatic
automatic
sighting,
sighting. Yeah.
automatic
But
sighting.
like,
And that ties into what you're going to talk about in the Irish squad as well. Actually, But carry on.
but 20 minutes into the game, 20 minutes remaining in the game that went, and the game was very much in the balance. But Connacht, like Leinster, saw an opportunity and really exploited it for
Yeah.
for the try. When it was obviously
Yeah.
Conway's position was missing on the pitch.
Yeah. Good thinking, all right.
No, so it's nice to see the welcoming buttocks of Connacht snap shut.
For a change.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good fill-up for them because they've had a few setbacks. I think they've won their opening 2 games in the Challenge Cup. So
maybe he
I mean,
has
they're on a bit
regained
of
the
a-
dressing room.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
One result that did strike that caught my eye, and I was really hoping they'd pull it off, was Zebras against
Yeah.
Cheetahs.
I was
They were
gutted for them. Absolutely
narrowly
gutted.
lost it in the last minute.
Well, look, this is 2 weeks running now.
The Italian team.
Where the Italian team,
Yeah.
up against extraordinary opposition,
Mm-hmm.
have been very unfortunate to lose with last minute penalties.
Like, they are certainly improving.
They certainly are improving. Like I said, they're competitive, and that's all we want from them: competitiveness.
And I mean, you think back, like even with say, with the whole mindset of getting in O'Shea, and you think back to, was it last autumn's? Didn't Italy beat South Africa
Yes, they did. Yeah.
in the was it summer or the autumn? Anyway,
Yeah.
He's going to be there, Jack Charlton, I think, isn't he?
yeah, but like he's brought in a new kind of a confidence maybe within the team. You know what I mean? And
Well-
back your ability.
Anyone who upsets Eddie Jones that much, you know,
Yeah.
because I mean that's what he did. I mean,
Takes some doing,
He
alright.
decided he didn't give a shit what people were saying about it. He said, "My job is to do what's best for Italian rugby," and if destroying a test match, for want of a better phrase, because that was the phrase that was used at the
Eddie
time.
Jones used,
Eddie
yeah.
Jones used it. If he was going to kill rugby to save Italian rugby, that's what he's paid for, and that's what he was going to do. And it was actually, I thought it was a wonderful tactical innovation. I thought it showed the marker he was going to set down, that he was going to do what had to be done for Italian rugby, both in terms of their provinces and in terms of their national team. And you can see it in the results this season. The results.
But certainly they're improving. And
They
as
really
you
have,
said,
yeah.
you said it a couple of weeks ago, Dave, you don't necessarily want, or you don't need them to win every game.
No.
But you want the score lines to have 1 or 5,
You want them to be
1 to
competitive.
5 points
Yeah,
within it, instead of a hockeying.
Yeah.
As maybe, like say Glasgow hockey,
Yeah.
the Southern Kings 43-13. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's it.
Remember Connacht, when they had their breakthrough season, started winning all the games that they were losing by 2 or 3 points
Yeah.
the previous season. And if the Italians can start doing that, if they can get to a position where they're only losing by a couple of points, and then work out what it takes to turn that around into a little,
Exactly, yeah.
you never know what could happen. It could be up into Europe A on merit. Because that's happening next year, isn't it? The Italian teams are. The whole thing is a meritocracy from
That's
next
right,
year.
Yeah.
And eventually maybe they might even let the South African teams
You never know.
into Europe.
Say it's only a matter of time.
I think it'll whether it's
I wonder if they let the South African teams into the Six Nations at some stage. It probably will destroy the Tri Nations if they did that, though.
Yeah.
It would, of course.
I think it would destroy Australian rugby, and that would be the problem.
Yeah. Just another match that was the Ospreys won their first match in probably 7 or 8 attempts against the Dragons, 28-14.
They obviously took I saw a little bit of it. They took the form that they'd had against Saracens and brought it forward. A bit of confidence. I'd say they got great confidence from that Saracens
Yeah.
result.
And
Yeah.
Dragons are not, by no means Saracens, so
No,
no. You just have to improve a little bit and you're going to get your result there. And I suppose the other result that was just noteworthy was Scarlets beating the Cardiff Blues,
Yeah.
30-17. So
they got the
Cardiff,
bonus point too.
they did. So
Sadly.
so obviously Scarlets are back and Cardiff are disimproving.
Yeah, Cardiff are down quite low on the table now. I think Ospreys have managed to accumulate more points than them now.
You can correct me wrong, but did I ever see somewhere that both Italian teams are ahead of 3 of the 4 Welsh sides?
Is that right?
I'm not
I saw
sure.
somebody
That's
made
what-
a
I saw- I saw-
amalgamated of
Yeah.
the amalgamation of the two,
Yeah,
the Pool A and Pool B.
yeah.
Somebody said that. I'm not sure the exactitude of that, but I mean, Cardiff and Ospreys are having a nightmare. They really are having a nightmare season. Dragons are actually going quite well. I'd say Dragons would be happy about where they are in terms of their own development.
Yeah. There's that table there, actually. And it shows that Treviso
They are. They're ahead
and
of 3 of,
Zebre are ahead of
3 of the 4 Welsh.
3 of the 4 Welsh regions. That's who'd have thunk that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 Italians ahead of 3 Welsh on a combined table.
Well, it's encouraging for the league, because that's what you want. You want the league to be taken seriously and to be a very competitive thing. That it's not just now. If you look at that table, you'll actually see that the top 5 teams are steaming
Way
ahead,
ahead, yeah.
and then the bottom 9 are kind of wallowing in there.
It's pretty much the same as in every league. French league, not so much until the end of it.
Yeah, well, that's 'cause it's home
All
and
the
away
games,
and-
the games unwind.
Yeah.
But the Premiership's the same. I mean, it's the same. It's just the way in almost every code.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you would like it though that there's more than just 5 teams that are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That we pretty much now, there's going to be a bun fight between Scarlets and Ulster probably for the fourth position to see who goes off and becomes the four
Yeah.
quarter or four semi-finalists.
Cardiff.
Scarlets and Ulster.
Scarlets and
I think Scarlets would be sure of
Scarlets
it.
would be
Sorry,
top.
sorry.
Munster and Ulster maybe.
I was going to say it's Cheetahs. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
Cheetahs.
Cheetahs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
They both begin with C, Jason. We'll give you that.
That's it.
The Blues and the Cheetahs.
I don't think the Blues will be troubling the
just scorers.
the scorers that much.
Yeah, but turning back, I suppose, our attention back to the Leinster match. Like it's always difficult. We haven't won. I actually said it was 2 weeks. 2 years last week that we hadn't. It was actually 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Back in April 14, I think was.
Yeah, it was
when
last
we won.
time we went up there.
Yeah, and like okay, Ulster are going, but it's still an Interpro, and it's still, they are going to come out swinging.
Of course.
If they're going to come out and swinging in any match,
Rory's
it's going to be that
200th cap, who
And
Sage was set
they
there.
come out swinging. Unfortunately, it was the swinging arms and the high tackles that they conceded all the penalties for.
Well, when you were saying earlier, Dave, about they haven't been any decent of a team since 2012, I mean, they've had you've just said we've only beat them once since then.
I know, and that says more about us, I
In
think, than it does about
Ravenhill.
them. Yeah, I don't. I stand by my original comment, and I think that says. I mean, look at we went up last year and put in a
Lackluster.
lackluster performance where our players played like dilettantes,
And we were atrocious the previous season.
and we were
as well.
atrocious the previous season. So
Yeah.
I think that says more about us than it does about them. To be frank,
Fair enough.
I'll be Frank, and you can be Betty.
Okay, Betty.
Betty Swallocks. It's great to get that win.
Oh yeah,
We're
it's always good to win an Interpro. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's always good to win an Interpro.
And that is the oldest Interpro.
Yeah,
as we all know.
yeah. It's always good to get that win because it's nice. It's nice for the lads to go into the Ireland camp, with a bit of a
swagger.
bounce in their heel. It'll serve them well in training and stuff, and it looks good in front of the coach and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, boys, thanks a million, and we look forward to the second half. Cheers.